Yo, fam, what's going on? You know the deal. Listen, like, follow, subscribe, anything you want to do, just follow us. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they did it! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
It is Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Our doc, Paul Vidal. You find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. It's your boy Chucks with Jeff, who's back again this week. What's going on, man?
Not much. Yourself?
Doing well. All things considered, it was a pretty tough night last night. But I don't want to get too much into it. I refuse to talk about it right now. I'm still mad. So we'll just leave it at that. Your boy Pete will be on, guys. He's just running a little late, but he will be joining us in time for our positional rankings. It is here, the annual Birds of a Feather positional rankings. We are going through quarterbacks tonight. We are brought to you by Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. If you need health therapy or addiction detox, please call 856-653-8117 and tell them that Tom sent you. We are live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're all over the internet. You know where to find us. You can't hide from us. So join us as we talk about it. Our poll question, which is brought to you by bodycheckwellness.com. Use the promo code A2D for 20% off. Jalen Hurts is a top 25 QB in the NFL right now heading into the 2021 season. Agree or disagree? We're going to talk about where we have him ranked on our rankings, where we would put him, where other people will put him, other media members. We're also going to do our rankings, like I said, at the top of the show. We'll get into some other football talk here and there, maybe some Eagles talk. And then we're going to end it there. Again, no Sixers talk. We're not talking Sixers.
You might want to get rid of the... You might want to edit the scroll, the ticker at the bottom. Then
unless Pete wants to talk, I'm not ready. I'm still mad, still heated. But we'll see. Maybe at the end of the show, I'll be in the mood to vent. We'll see how it goes. But let's start off and let's talk about it, guys. Jalen Hurts. So I know that 4 games is a very small sample size. So where do we've talked about him a lot. I know me and you, our opinions on him, Pete's, Chrome's, we've all talked about it a lot already. But if you were to rank him right now, would you say he's around, like, he makes it within the top 25? Agree or disagree, Jeff? What do you think?
I'll say just looking at the quarterbacks heading into 2021, and as an Eagles fan, you have hope that Jalen Hurts can be that guy, will hopefully be your franchise quarterback and proves all the haters wrong, at least heading into next offseason where they can make a decision or not. But like you said, it was a small sample size last year. We only got to see him in 4 games. In those games, he wasn't very. He showed promise, and then there was a lot of times he showed, he needs some developing. Once again, he was 52% of completions last year in those 4 games, 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, He took a lot of sacks, a lot of bad throws, throwing into double coverage, throwing at a receiver's feet. So he definitely is a work in progress. I feel the fact that they got a weapon like Devontae Smith around him is definitely going to build his stock a little bit. To the poll, I'm going to agree he's a top 25, but that's probably about it. He's probably at that point on the borderline of top 20, top 25, just because you really don't know what you have with Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback. And I understand there's a lot of these quarterback rankings, a lot of these analysts are doing like Chris Sims, who kept him out of the top 40, which is complete disrespect to Jalen Hurts. You can at least have him in the top 32. There's only 32 freaking starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. So you're telling me that there's backups in this league that are better than Jalen Hurts and our starter? And then, of course, I understand a lot of Chris Sims also felt the draft class is better than Jalen Hurts, that he felt that the Eagles should have made a play for him leading into this past April's draft, which I don't disagree with. They probably should. If they felt that they were one of them was an upgrade over Jalen Hurts, they should have made a play. But we don't know what any of those rookies are. So also you have to factor in the rookies that are probably going to be starters this upcoming season. So I still probably have Trevor Lawrence ahead of Jalen Hurts as well. Probably Justin Fields also. But look, there's a lot of subpar quarterbacks in this league. You look at some of the names on this list that are potentially going to be starters this year, like Zach Wilson, Tua, Sam Darnold. Some people I know feel with the new team that he can be maybe a better quarterback. Drew Lock with the Denver Broncos, he's probably going to be if he even wins the starting job, him or Teddy Bridgewater. So I feel Jalen Hurts' ceiling is there, but he has to prove it to us. So I know some fans feel that, it's complete disrespect not to have him at least in the top 20. I disagree with that. Jalen Hurts has to prove to us and prove to the national media and the fan base that he can step in and be that productive quarterback that can be the franchise quarterback for this team. Because right now he shows leadership, which is a great quality for a quarterback, but I want a quarterback who can go out there and produce and win football games, which Jalen Hurts was thrown in a bad situation last year with the whole Carson Wentz debacle. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that those 4 games, like you said, was a small sample size, but you still have to have him probably in the middle, the lower tier of the starting quarterbacks in this league.
So where did you say?
I said probably in between 20 and 25. Okay. So we're probably like the top 25, probably like 20. I think I have him like when we go over our rankings, like 22 or 23.
Okay. When I was making this point, and you remember when we were doing the chat, I was asking you guys, what should I do? Should I do top 20? Did you do top 25? Should I say top 30? I think 25 is a good over-under. Yeah. Because like you look at a lot of the rankings, and around that range is where you can start to make an argument. So I think on either side of the coin here, you can make arguments for or against him. So I'm going to disagree, but the thing is, I would put him around 30, like give or take a few spots. That's why I would disagree. But it's not that I don't think he can climb that a lot, because he can. I think he can climb that ranking a lot, especially because this team could be. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to be a division contender, but offensively, they have pieces. And if they stay healthy with that O-line, if Nick Sirianni turns out to be a good coach like we hope he is, and like I said, everyone stays healthy, Dallas Goedert and Sanders have to break out seasons, everything falls into place like we hope, and these young players develop. Devontae Smith is who we believe he is. I do believe he can produce and develop nicely in year 2. So I think he can end up being like top 15-ish by the end of the year. I think it's very possible. But right now, if I'm being fair, taking into account, what these quarterbacks have done, recently, and how I project them this upcoming season, objectively, I would have to say around top 30. So I disagree. It's just that sample size, and a lot of people need to remember that, the first 2 games against the Saints and the Cardinals, there were a lot of good things that we saw. Like against the Cardinals, the very beginning, first few drives, it wasn't good. But I loved how he bounced back from those early game struggles. That's key. Like I didn't mind the how he struggled, how he got off to a slow start that game. What I thought was great was how he bounced back and had a great finish, even though they lost. He made great throws and he played really well. So to me, that was the best performance throughout his whole, throughout the whole season was that Cardinals game. But there were also equally bad things that he did in those in the next two games against the Cowboys and then to finish it off against the Washington football team. So there's a lot of up and down, and with it being such a small sample size, I can't objectively put him above some of these guys who have kind of proven themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's always tricky when you try to consider, okay, like does a player's consistency, how much does that factor into it? Because you're trying to project going forward without taking into account too much of what they've done. Because what a player did, 3-5 years ago, it doesn't really matter like projecting forward, but you also want to consider how consistent they've been. Because if you think that they're just a one-hit wonder, and it's just one season where they had a good season, then it could be tricky. So it's really tough, and objectively, I don't know if I can put them above some of these guys. But like you said, and we discussed it, I'm glad you brought it up. If you have more points to add to it, you can. But P and I talked last week towards the end of the show about how foolish it was for Chris Simmons to not even rank him in the top 40. And the biggest issue I had was that Chris Simmons had said at the end of the season that he would put Tua and Hurts about even, with Hurts being a little bit better than Tua. And then now he puts in his rankings, Tua's 34, 35, but then Hurts is nowhere to be found. I don't mind him having different opinions, but I do mind the inconsistencies. Well, that's the issue.
That and his opinions are basically just hot takes. He purposely does things or says things, or with these rankings, put players in weird positions, knowing he's going to get reaction from people like us, from the fans, from people that are going to read his articles or listen to his podcast and go listen and blow him up. Like they say, bad publicity is good publicity, or any publicity is good publicity. So, and the fact I remember you in our little chat, you said that he has Tom Brady 10th, which is ridiculous. I take what that dude says with a freaking grain of salt. There's a reason why he was a bad quarterback in the National Football League. He's even a worse analyst when it comes to certain things, like these stupid quarterback rankings he does.
The thing with Chris Sims, though, is that, a lot of people feel the way you do. And, there's no way people who listen to him every once in a while, I don't listen to him every week. I listen to him sparingly. Because ever since, when P gets here, he'll attest to it. Ever since he left the Bleacher Report and, him and Adam Lefkoe split, they didn't do their show together anymore. It's kind of been he hasn't been as good because him and Lefkoe were so good together because they played off of each other so well. They complemented each other so well. Yeah. But now his show, it's all him just blurting stuff out, and his co-hosts don't really do anything to go against his opinion or challenge his opinions. So it's just he gets out of hand sometimes. And the thing is, I don't have any proof, but if you, as someone who watches film a lot, myself, I watch a lot of film. When you hear him explain his rankings and his evaluations and everything, you can kind of tell that he's done the work. I can tell when someone is evaluating a player, giving an opinion on a player, and he's just BSing. And I can tell when someone's actually watched the film and everything they're saying, it's backed up with the work. So when I listen to Chris Sims, I feel like he is putting in the work. I feel like he is watching film and knows what he's talking about. Where it gets really bad with him, though, is that the way he views and evaluates QBs isn't what everyone else looks for. Like, he is big on arm talent, and athleticism. So that part of the game, like, he's always going to value it. That's why he's big on guys like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. He was big on Patrick Mahomes before he came out. Like, these big arm quarterbacks that have a huge rocket arm and are athletic, he's big on them. But when it comes to the cerebral kind of quarterbacks, like, you can tell he's not. Those traits don't stand out on his rankings as much, and it shows. And he's explained, and like, to his credit, he's someone that, like, when he gives the rankings, even though he ranks someone lower than most people, he explains that, like, it's not because he hates them. It's just how he has to rank them, but it doesn't mean he's low on the player. So what I will say, though, with Tom Brady is for several years now, he's been perpetually low on Tom Brady. And his argument is that the way he sees it is, the exercise he does, if you were to put these quarterbacks just all on an even playing field with the same type of team, same talent around them, same coaches around them and everything, how would each of them perform if everything is equal? So even though Tom Brady, won the Super Bowl and everything, like, the way he sees it is he's evaluating the individual talent of Tom Brady compared to all the others. I can understand that. I wouldn't have him as low as 10. That's still really, really, really low, but I can understand the premise of his argument and where he's coming from. So that's the tough part when talking about him.
And I get that, but he has to realize I understand a lot of analysts and a lot of people, the way they grade things, they have certain preferences and certain things that they look at based off their gradings, which I totally get. Everyone has their own opinion and all of that, but you have to have more than just athleticism and arm strength when evaluating talent and evaluating the quarterback. There's a ton of intangibles, and you have a guy like Tom Brady who stepped in for a pretty – or without a quarterback, a pretty bad Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Without the quarterback before him couldn't do crap. So Tom Brady comes in there and leads them to a freaking Super Bowl and wins them a Super Bowl. Without Tom Brady, they don't win that Super Bowl. So the fact that I kind of feel having him at 10, it's a little bit of slap in the face to freaking Brady. I understand he's getting up there in age. His performance ain't what it used to be in his prime. But this is a guy that has been one of the all-time greats year in and year out and finds new ways to surprise you and surprise the National Football League. So I get Chris Sims, and I understand going forward and all that. But once again, you have to look also around him with the team as well. They have all their returning starters from their Super Bowl team that's coming back this year. Don't you expect Tom Brady to have another spectacular season? I do. So I understand your point that you have to judge them based off of even playing field, which I still would put Tom Brady ahead of some of these guys. And you can't just base it off of potential. You know how many times that we judge players based off potential when it comes to rankings and putting them in these rankings? Look at Andrew Luck all those years. Granted, he was a decent talent, but he never took his team to the next level. He never stood out as that one of the all-time or the league greats those seasons that we expected him to take that next level, and then he ends up freaking retiring anyway. So,
yeah, it's a tricky thing to do because I try to do the same. Like if I'm evaluating someone, I try to just look at their talent and not the talent of the team. Because if you're telling me, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Deshaun Watson, right? Like, Deshaun Watson is on a terrible Texans team, right?
Yeah,
Terrible Texans team. So his production and stats and the notoriety he gets may not always be as big as a quarterback who is on a great team, like okay, I don't want to say Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is on another
Different
level. But like okay, like say let's use the Tom Brady example, right? So Tom Brady is as great as he is surrounded by a really good team, great coach, great wide receivers around him. He has Gronk. He has a good offensive line. So if you were to put Deshaun Watson on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, how much better could Deshaun Watson perform than when he's in Houston? You know what I mean? Because even though someone and the production might not be as great as someone who is on a good team, that doesn't mean they're any less talented. It's a team sport, and that's what the tricky thing is like trying to evaluate the individual's talent separate from the team around him. It's there's no exact science to it. You can make arguments, for and against it, and that's what's tricky, and that's where debate and discussion comes in. But that's what he tries to do, and I respect. But I think some of it gets lost in translation. And there are things that Chris Sims has been absolutely 100% right on when it comes to QB. If there's one position that he knows what he's talking about, it's QB. If it comes to other positions like running back, he has no clue what he's talking about. When he talks running backs, I don't listen to anything he says. Anything he says. It's bogus. His running back takes are atrocious. They're very, very bad. And so it kind of triggers someone like me. But, I get what you're saying. And I know Chris Sims is not the type of guy for everyone. But I will say, even though I disagree with a lot of his takes, when you actually listen to what he says, he does say a lot of good things. And I've personally learned a lot just by listening to him. And so there's good and bad. And I know he rubs people the wrong way, but it is what it is. And it's not every analyst is for everyone. So some of these comments, let's go to it. I know that we've got some already that want to chime in, agreeing or disagreeing to the poll. We got Jake here saying, I'll agree, but he's right at 25 for me. And hopefully he proves himself this season. Tom says, to the poll, he better be.
Not wrong.
I really, really hope.
Not wrong.
Says, what's up, fellas? Mullins QB1. Nick Mullins. We got another Nick in Philly, guys. Nope. Nick at QB in Philly. So, yeah, got Nick Mullins in the house. He's going to battle for QB2, I think. I wouldn't write him totally off. No. Greg says, to the poll, I disagree. He needs to be, though, or it'll be another long season. Yeah, he definitely needs to step up. Benny's Nation says agree simply because he will have more weapons and a healthy O-line. Correct. Brian Daly, disagree to the poll. He's too small of a sample size for me to agree. So he's kind of with me with that. Blue City Empire Sports. I'm assuming he's a New York Giants fan based on the comment and based on his picture, his avatar. Why are Eagles fans overhyping your QB?
How the hell are we overhyping?
It's a poll question.
We're debating whether he's top 20. That's towards the end of the starters in the National Football League. Right? How the hell are we overhyping our quarterback? Do we hope that do we believe he has potential to reach a higher ceiling? Yes, we do, but we also know he can flame out like he did last year. So we're finally going to be able to see what we have at the quarterback position. No one's over freaking hyping him. We know as a fan base whether that this team is only go as far as what Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts takes us. Those are the two X factors for the Eagles' success in 2021. So that for us to overhype Jalen Hurts is a crock of crap.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think he understands that, one, it's a poll question, and two, like exactly what you said. If we're arguing top 25, that's pretty damn low. Yeah. We're not saying he's top 10. I don't know what, but it's a Giants fan trying to troll. Betty's Nation says, how many drops did his receivers have in those games? They did not help him. Absolutely. Absolutely. And plus, the offensive line as always, in shambles last year. So I get it. There were definitely a lot of tough circumstances for Hurts last year. So that always has to be taken into account. Name Brand says Hurts being overlooked is his life story. Yeah, that's one thing about him is that he's always going to be motivated to prove everyone wrong. Vespi comes in and he says, "Hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. The answer to the poll, it's a maybe. He has potential, but we'll see."
Choose a damn side, Frank. You can't go in the middle.
Jay Koch said himself, he'll be good if we don't ruin him. That's true. That is so true. And Jeff Saylor says, no, he hasn't proven anything yet. Prism in 280, friend of the show. Jalen Hurts top 25, who knows, won't know until after the year. Well, I mean, where would you put him now? They're just saying, like right now, where would you put him?
Yeah, we're talking heading into 2021. Look, we're only a couple weeks away from training camp. They just had their mini camps. The roster's pretty much going to be set in stone unless Howie pulls a trigger or makes a surprise trade or someone gets cut that they decide to bring in. So this is most likely your 2021 Eagles roster for the most part, knowing the fact that there's going to be a couple of camp battles and roster battles for the tier end of the roster, but we need to judge what we have with Jalen Hurts based off what he has around him and going into this season with the new head coach. So it's going to be interesting to see come training camp what type of quarterback we see from him, at least in practice. And hopefully we get to see more 11-on-11s and team drills, them going up against one another, so we can get a little bit better look on how maybe Jalen Hurts has progressed from last season to this season, because all I've been hearing from players on social media and the media in general that Jalen Hurts has been a workhorse this offseason. So if he is hopefully as good as he is in the weight room and putting the time in to get ready for this season, hopefully that provides and shows us what he can do out in the field. And if that's the case, we might have a surprise at the quarterback and a surprise Philadelphia Eagles team that we did not expect being a playoff contending team.
Is anyone really surprised, though, that he's working his ass off? I'm not. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I'm saying it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's just how he is. When he was drafted, one of the things that you couldn't really argue against was his work ethic and his leadership. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I really do believe if anyone can prove doubters wrong and be better than what a lot of people projected him to be, it's Jalen Hurts, He's gonna work his ass off to get the most out of his talent that he can. So we'll just see how high his ceiling actually is. Brodo said, for the sake of my sanity, he needs to be good. Yes.
It needs to be good for everyone's sanity and for the fan base's sanity. Because remember, we have 3 first-round picks potentially next offseason that we keep on bringing up and talking about every single week. And the fact, I'll say that one of the question marks, definitely possibly heading into next year, is the quarterback position. So if you know what you have with Jalen Hurts, and if Jalen Hurts shows that he can be that franchise quarterback and you guys can build around him, those 3 first-round picks will help make your team better instead of trying to rely on filling that quarterback position. The only thing I keep on saying is the one thing I'm worried about is Jalen Hurts is going to not be good, but not great. And Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie decide to continue we have potential. We think he can be it. We think we can build around him, or he's doing just enough to try to get us to win, which can possibly set back your franchise even further, which I do not want to happen. We need to know by next season, is Jalen Hurts the answer or not? If not, you definitely need to move on.
I think it's really tough. Good thing bringing it up. It's really tough because objectively speaking, how are we going to know for sure if he's the guy after I'm going to say 2 seasons, 2 seasons in, but he's really only going to have 1 full season of starting. You know what I mean? It's a really tough, and especially, and I'm not saying that we have to give him more time, because you are right. We have 3 first-round picks next year, potentially. Knock on wood. Especially 3 first-round picks, and we got to kind of know what we're doing with it. You know what I mean? If he if he doesn't show anything this year to give us confidence that he can be the guy, then you have to use those 3 first-round picks in order to do something, maneuver somehow to get a franchise QB.
Yeah.
When's the next time you're going to have assets like that to try to maybe trade for Deshaun Watson if everything works out for him off the field? Try to move up in the draft to get a QB. You know, it's very important that this year we know, not for sure, but we can say with confidence he is or isn't the guy. Because and it's tricky because what measure are you using? Are you using wins and losses? Are you using stats? What stats are you going to use? Like, is there a threshold? Like, is he gonna? Oh, he has to throw for 3,000. He has to run for at least 5. You know what I mean? Like, what is going to be the measuring stick? And it's going to be tough, but you have to make a decision on him next offseason. So you kind of hope that whichever way we go, either going with him or going without him, we're confident in that direction, that decision.
I was going to say, just to your point about how we're going to judge him, I don't think it's going to be one specific thing they're going to judge him on. I think it's going to be everything that you brought up. I'll say, you want to know, is this due to winner? How are we competing in games? Are we winning? Are we losing closely? Are we getting blown out? What is his mental state during these games? Is he just all irritated or gives up, or what's his psyche on the sideline, depending on what happens in those games? Stats, definitely. I would say, how's his completion rating? Is he throwing balls directly to his receivers? Is he running the offense well? Is this something he feels comfortable with? And then definitely the eye test. Does he have the it factor? Does he have that leadership? There's a ton of intangibles to base things off of, and I kind of feel I'm hoping Nick Sirianni can judge from what he sees, and I agree with you. One season might not be long enough, but this is Philadelphia. This is a fan base that is not going to stick around and wait for this team to be good. And the fact that they feel that they want to get that win now type of mode, and that they feel they have the pieces in place going forward. You just drafted a young stud wide receiver with Devontae Smith. You invested the wide receiver the year before with Jalen Reagor. Your offensive line right now is pretty steady, hopefully, and those guys aren't getting any younger. You have Lane Johnson that's on the wrong side of 30. Jason Kelce, you don't know what he's going to do after this season. And on the defensive side of the football, you're trying to revamp that defense and get younger pieces and younger talent there, which there are a couple pieces that are going to be question marks going in that year. So hopefully you know what you have with Jalen Hurts, because you're going to need to use those assets to build other pieces on this football team. And you don't want to have to waste unless there's a generational type of talent coming out of next year's draft, or like you said, you can get one of the stud quarterbacks relatively on the cheap end or a decent deal, a decent value for. You want to use those assets to build other pieces. You don't want to keep on trying to build with the quarterback position, just like we've been bitching and complaining about that the Eagles cannot hit on the wide receiving position the last 3-4 seasons, however long it's freaking been for them drafting wide receivers. So it's definitely a make or break season for Jalen Hurts, and we need to know sooner rather than later, like you said.
Fair or not, it is. It really is. Brigman says he disagrees. He has no track record. Calvin Odom says Hurts is top 20. Prism 280. He says 20 to 25 coming into the season. Brigman follows up. He says, I hope he ends up being at least top 25. Only 32 teams, top 25, not a high bar. Exactly. Tell that to the Giants fan that commented. Like, it's not a high bar. I'm trying to give a good over-under here for discussion. But, yeah, it is what it is. It's toward, top 25 is still lower third of the league.
Yeah.
Benny's Nation says this guy will now be working with his 4th different OC in the last 5 seasons. He needs some continuity in order for us to get true reads on him. I'm not sure what word it's supposed to be, or true read. I'm assuming read. True read.
Yeah, true read
on
him.
Absolutely. And hopefully Sirianni is that continuity. Hurts,
Well, and just to back to that comment real quick. Yeah, he's worked with 4 of the last 5 seasons. That was in college. This is the NFL, completely a different ball game, different animal. And I agree. Last season, it was probably not the best situation for Jalen Hurts to come in where he did. The fact that there was the whole turmoil with Doug Peterson, with Carson Wentz that we heard, with management, and we continue to know or suspect under Doug Peterson that this team has not done well with developing talent. So he probably did not do a good job developing Jalen Hurts to be thrown into that situation when he was called upon. So hopefully Sirianni, being with his quarterback background and his wide receiver background and all that he can come in here and give him the right tools to develop him properly, and we can see a new Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. We've got Max Eternal Life saying, what is the QB rankings after Mahomes? Everybody knows Mahomes is 1. Would love to know the top 5. We will definitely get into that soon. It's coming up very soon. And again, he will be here to join us. But right now, we do have someone else from A2D, a colleague of ours that everyone is familiar with on this show. He likes to make frequent appearances. We've got Mr. Ryan Berto sitting in the background, and I think he does have something to add to this discussion or a question for us, I think. So, Mr. Berto, what's up? What's going on?
What's going on?
You look pretty upset or like just down and like.
Oh no, I'm great. No, I'm great. Great.
Brink of elimination. Who else in Philadelphia? Why else would Philadelphia be pissed off right now?
No, I'm in great spirits, Chuck. So I'm feeling great. We won that game last night, right, Chucks? We won that game. We won.
What's that quote again? I forget the movie that the quote's on, but you look exactly how I feel. Like I'm trying my best right now to keep a smile on, but man, I did not want to talk all day. I stayed away from Twitter because I did not want to see anything Sixers related today. But yeah, what did you have for us before we transition into our QB rankings?
I'll be real quick. Exactly what I said in the comment section. He needs to be good. This team needs to be good. Like, I know the last handful of months ever since the offseason started, I've had the mindset of, this team doesn't need to be good. It's a restart, right? We're going to have limited expectations, everything. No. After what we're seeing, we saw last night, we're probably going to see tomorrow, or if not, we're going to see it on Sunday. What do we have left? The Phillies? That's funny. The Flyers? Love the hockey guys, but that's funny. The Sixers? What are they? What do we do?
Philadelphia Union, baby.
No, go to hell. No way. Nope. I'll start watching figure skating instead of that.
You can watch some wrestling with me and Chrome.
That's not even good anymore. It's all disappointing.
Eva Marie is back, man. Eva Marie is back.
Is she?
He hasn't debuted yet.
Pete, you know what I'm going to say because you were basking in all of that hell last night amongst the chaos.
Yes.
He needs to be good. This team needs to be good because I don't – like I'm looking at the rest of my summer. I don't – what do we have? Now we're going to have the fall and we're going to be sitting back like, oh, my God, another embarrassment?
Well, I mean, you got the Phillies flirting with first place, but –
oh, that's funny. Oh, that's a funny one, Pete. That's a funny one, Pete. Until we actually get some semblance of positivity, I'm just going to be sitting here in my friggin' chair. This isn't even a blanket. These are pants. These are pants I'm wrapped in. I'm wrapped in pants.
Well, the Sixers.
I'm hoping you're wearing pants.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I am.
I was scared to touch any of my Sixers gear today. I was like, it's gross. God, it's disgusting.
Are you guys watching tomorrow? Like, I don't think I'm gonna watch.
Dude, I don't know if I can watch. I might watch for the fourth quarter, but I don't. That's even a maybe. Like, I can't put myself through this again. Like, they'll be up. They could go up by 50, guys. In the 50 by halftime, they could be winning 75-25, and I still will have anxiety the rest of the game. Being like, oh, they're going to give up this lead.
I'm not going to be the same ever again because I can't look at a lead and be confident.
I know.
I look at a 30-point lead and be like, oh, we're fine. No, we blew a 26-point lead to the Hawks at home.
guys, I don't know how you tricked me into talking Sixers, but I am not. I gotta. So, like, toward the end of the season, I had said this, and I was worried. I was like, guys, there's a lot of games where they're blowing big leads late. I really hope this isn't a trend. Like, I thought it was just like, okay, they're gonna get their playoff mode soon. This is just them, feeling themselves out. No. Like, this is bad. This is really bad.
This is the equivalent of Phil Mickelson having a lead in a major at the U.S. Open.
It's Wingfoot 2006.
And it's the back nine.
It's Wingfoot.
And you're holding on by the seat of your pants. Yes, exactly.
We had a one-shot lead, and we double bogeyed the last hole. That's what we did.
And we let Jeff Ogilvy, who hasn't done shit since, win by one stroke.
Can't even get a sponsor. Can't even get a freaking sponsor.
Sorry, the references are totally over my head.
Well, I mean, it's Mike Tyson versus James Buster Douglas. Not on that sense of where you literally had him on the ropes. You had him on the ropes in the third quarter, and like I said last night, it took a veteran, not even a rookie, not even a second-year player, not even a third-year player. It took a 10-plus year vet who comes off the bench to put a spark into that team, and it was infectious. And we got infected with something else on the other side of the court.
Yeah,
and it wasn't good.
I'll just say this, and then I'll disappear and I'll go cry again. That whatever that was last night, it made it into my top 3 most heartbreaking playoff losses in Philly history, at least in my life. Okay, I'm not going back. I only go back to 96, so obviously I have a limited window. It's obviously the NFC title game against Tampa Bay. We all know what that is.
Yep.
It's 2011 losing with the Phillies and Ryan Howard obliterating his friggin' ACL on the final play of the game.
Yep.
Of the series. And then last night. And to be honest with you, last night might be one.
I was going to ask you guys before we went back off topic is this the worst Sixers loss you've witnessed? Because I've been thinking about it all day. No, I've been thinking about it since last night. To me, this is the worst Sixers loss I've ever seen.
It's worse than Game 7.
I've only been watching since late 90s, so it's not like I have a ton of decades of experience here watching Sixers games, but I don't remember a Sixers loss being this bad. I just don't.
That, like I said last night, this Sixers loss is equivalent to the Eagles losing against Tampa Bay for the simple fact of the Eagles win that game, they roll Oakland in the Super Bowl. Roll them in the Super Bowl. And this is kind of the same thing where Game 7 against the Raptors, you kind of felt like the team had arrived, but you didn't know if they could win yet. Where this one is, what else can you do in the regular season? What's the whole purpose of the regular season? Joel Embiid missed 21 games, and yet you still are the number 1 seed. There's nothing more you can ask for. You're playing the 5th seed in the second round of the playoffs, and you have a 26-point lead to go up 3-2 with less than a quarter and a half of basketball left. And you just paper cut it away.
I'll tell you why it's the worst thing, and I'll tie it back to the Eagles. It's a perfect transition back into your quarterback stuff. What we saw last night, I don't give a damn if they win the series. I don't, because I don't. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not. I'm being as honest as I possibly can, because what you showed last night, what that team showed me last night, is they showed their true nature. So if they win, am I going to be able to say, oh, they're going to beat the Nets or are they going to beat Milwaukee? Unless some miracle happens, no. So I don't give a damn. What happened the last 48 hours will cause this city to have to say goodbye to Carson Wentz and Ben Simmons within the course of 6 months. 2 of the big 3. Like, we talk about the big stars in this city, 2 of them are going to be out. Yeah. Who would have thought we'd be here a year ago? Not me.
And I will say this before, my last thing, because if I know a lot of people think I'm a Ben Simmons defender. To me, I've always been in the middle with Ben Simmons. I've always said, and I know some people will disagree, I've always said that this whole thing about him not shooting threes or shooting from the outside, I've always believed that to be overblown. I don't think that's as crucial as a lot of people are making it out to be. However, what I've always been critical of him is the damn freaking free throws and not being able to score from close range. If you can't hit a 12-foot jumper, or if you can't nail 70% of your free throws, what are you good for? Like as a number, you're supposed to be the second best player on the team. You have to do that.
Just shoot him, Chuck.
I don't really care about threes. I don't care about threes when it comes to Ben Simmons. But you've got to be automatic from up close, and you've got to nail free throws. The free throws are driving me insane. Driving me absolutely insane. That is the one thing I can't get over with him is the damn free throws. The shooting threes is not the reason why he's overrated, and not the reason why he's not living up to what he's supposed to be. It's the damn free throws and the reluctance to be engaged and aggressive for 48 freaking minutes. It's not. That's why I have an issue with Ben Simmons.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Maybe I can get one of you three, or maybe all three of you guys, to play point guard next season for us, because we're going to need one. Yeah.
I got you for a quarter. That's it.
There you go.
More than Ben Simmons. More than Ben Simmons.
If you want to chime in during our QB rankings, feel free. But Brodo, as always, good to have you chime in to Birds of a Feather. Pete, nice of you to join us, by the way. Thank you. Are you okay?
It's been a day, man. It's been a day, man. People, just be safe out there on the road. Be diligent. Know who's on your left and your right. It's not that hard. There's no reason why my car should have had to go in the grass, across dirt for about a mile.
Well, you know people, especially
75 miles an hour.
Especially on 55. You know people being wrong. Guys, we're gonna do a little. We're supposed to only go for an hour 15, but we're gonna go a little bit longer. So right now, we'll aim for like an hour and a half show. So right now we are at about the halfway point.
Okay.
We've been talking about Jalen Hurts. We've been talking about the Sixers. Poll question is below. Jalen Hurts, top 25 QB in the NFL right now, heading into NFL season 2021. Agree or disagree? If you still got opinions, if you still got takes, you want us to know what you think, definitely keep commenting. We will get to your comments. But right now, without further ado, let's get into the coup de grace of tonight's show. What we always go to every single year. We always look forward to positional rankings. And we're going to kick it off with none other than the single most important position in the NFL, in football, which is quarterback. So, Jeff, this is your first time doing it.
Yeah.
Pete, this is what, your third, second or third? I forget.
I think it may be the third.
Third, okay. So, the way you tell me how you guys want to do this, because we do think everyone knows I do things really differently. I do not like traditional linear rankings. I go by tiers. Okay, so we can do it this way. How about each of us gives our rankings, and then we will compare and dissect and see where a lot of the differences are. How many did you do, Pete? Like how far did you go?
I did top 5, but I'm adding 5 more as we're on the fly.
On the fly.
Top 10 will do.
Jeff, how many did you do?
I did the whole league, starting starting quarterbacks. I did top 32. I based it off the potential or who's expected to be starters in that, which I have to freaking find. I think it's on my other computer. Well, I might have to wing it a little bit. I might have to try to remember what the hell I put.
I did because I did mine in tiers. I have 4 different tiers, and they all consist of 4. In total, there are 14 quarterbacks. So I did a little under half of the league, but there's 4 tiers. So why don't we do this? Since, Jeff, you did a lot. Let's go through just run off real quick. Go from 32 to about 11. Let's go through your 32 and just run them off, and then we'll see what names pop out to us on your list.
Okay, 32, I had Drew Lock. 31, I had Zach Wilson. 30, I had Tua. And then 29, I had Darnold. 20, what was I on? 28, 29. Yeah,
You
28.
did this one, man.
20, I just did 20. 28.
Yeah.
I had Jared Goff.
I like it. Sorry.
Once again, like we discussed, I'm basing off of granted, not just talent of the quarterbacks. I'm judging based off the players around him.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Detroit's a dumpster fire right now. Besides getting Penny Sewell, what weapons does Jared Goff really have to work with next season? So,
no, that makes sense. And everyone knows.
Let me just specify. I'm not just basing off of quarterback talent. I'm somewhat judging off the basically how they're going to play next season.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was that?
He was 28, I think.
28. 27. I had Cam Newton. 26. I had whoever's the hell going to be the starting quarterback for them, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, whoever the hell for the Saints.
Okay.
25. I had where is it? There it is. I had Justin Fields. 24. Jimmy Garoppolo. 22. I had Daniel Jones, which I probably should have had him a little bit lower. And then 21. I had Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
So, before you got here, Pete, to the poll question, I agreed to the poll, but I felt he's in that tier between 20 and 25, roughly.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
So that's where I agreed when it came to the poll question.
Okay.
And then what am I at? 20?
Yeah.
20. I have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Number 19. I have Carson Wentz. 18. I have Joe Burrow. Number 17. I had Big Ben. 16. I had Justin Herbert. 15. I have Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
And then 13. I have Kyler Murray.
13. Wow, Kyler Murray. Okay.
12. I have Derek Carr. And then number 11, I had Ryan Tannehill.
Okay. I think the only one that jumps out to me as a little low is Kyler Murray.
I thought so.
I am high on Kyler Murray. I really like Kyler Murray, so I would have him a little higher. But I can understand. I was looking at other rankings today from other websites and everything, and there are some people that have him in that range just outside top 10. It's not like a bogus thing. I just personally I would have him higher. Go ahead.
No, so I agree with you. It was just trying to figure out because a lot of these quarterbacks outside like the top 5, top 10, they basically can almost go almost anywhere. And Kyler Murray, I agree with you. He played well in year 2. And I feel he's going to make even progress even more. It was just trying to comparing to some of the other quarterbacks with what they have around them, who they have to deal with, teams they have to deal with. So I'll say he plays in a tough division. So that's sort of why I kind of have Murray a little bit lower heading to 2021.
Okay.
There's a comment here real quick. K's215. They say if Mullins gets a fair shot, he can beat out Hurts. No,
You need to get your head examined, bro.
Mullins is a good backup QB. Okay, I pay close attention to San Fran because I like San Fran, and I've watched Mullins quite a bit. He's a good backup. But two things. He's not going to get a fair shot. So because the team is not invested to find out about him. They know what he is. Everyone knows what he is. They're trying to find out what Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts he has a higher ceiling without a doubt than Mullins. Okay? And two, well, that was my second point. Like, Hurts right now, if you want to base on what they've shown, okay, but Hurts' ceiling is definitely higher than Mullins. right now we don't know a lot about Hurts. I agree. And remember, I disagree to the poll. I have him outside the top 25. But to say that Mullins with a fair shot would beat out Hurts, I think that's not being fair to Hurts. I think you're really underselling Hurts quite a bit. So that's not a good. I don't think I can agree with that. And I'm someone who is skeptical of Hurts. But man, the ceiling for Hurts is much higher than what it is for Mullins. Mullins is reaches. He is what he is.
Right.
He's not getting any better. He's a backup. Hurts can get better. So that's my 2 cents. I don't agree with that. Pete, I know you did top 10, right? Roughly.
I actually have top 20 now, as you guys are
Okay,
talking.
go ahead. Do 20 to 11.
20 to 11. So I have 20 Goff, 19 Jimmy G, 18 Zach Wilson, 17 Trevor Lawrence. Simply so with those picks right there, if you can kind of do my line of thinking, it's just I think those have a higher Lawrence and Wilson have a higher ceiling than Goff and Jimmy G.
Okay.
16 I have Kirk Cousins. 15 I have the quarterback who should still be here in my opinion, Carson Wentz. 14 I have Baker. 13 I have Burrow. 12 I have Roethlisberger, and 11 I have Matt Ryan.
Nothing really stood out to me there. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fair. So for my tiers, in my 4th tier, it's QB's 12 to 14. So I'll do that 4th tier. Again, within these tiers, I didn't rank them. So they could be in any order within each tier. So in my 4th tier, which would be QB's 12 to 14, I have Herbert, Burrow, and Tannehill. So Tannehill might be a little low. I was debating with Tannehill. I wanted to put him a little higher, but I couldn't put him in the same tier as some of the other guys in tier 3.
I agree.
I don't see the talent being there, but he's definitely right down in that tier 4, which is good. Like all these all these QBs I have, QBs 1 to 14, they're all at least good QBs. They're good QBs so Herbert, Burrow, right now going for obviously their ceilings are high, but right now projecting into 2021, I put them right around here, right outside the top 10. And Tannehill is a good QB. So I don't want anyone to misconstrue that I hate Tannehill, because I don't. And I'm sure if Chrome was here, he'd be giving me a fit. He'd be throwing a fit with me putting Tannehill this low, right outside the top 10. But I like Tannehill a lot. All right, so now we're in roughly top 10. All right, so let's do half and half. Okay, so 10 to 6. Okay, and I'll do my tier, my 3rd tier. So Pete, go through 10 to 6 on yours.
So I have 10A and 10B because I really couldn't, but I felt like they were better than Matt Ryan, and that's Dak Prescott and Ryan Tannehill as my 10A and 10B. 9, I have Matt Stafford.
Okay.
I think this is the year. This is the year he'll put people on notice that appreciate him.
He's like 30 something, and then we're like, this is finally the year.
I mean, he's with McVay. You've seen what Jared Goff did with McVay. He's definitely better than Jared Goff. So 8 is Kyler Murray. 7 is I love this kid is Justin Herbert, and 6 is Russell Wilson.
Wow, Russell Wilson 6.
Yeah.
That's the one where I'm like, what's low?
You just talked about 30 some odd years old with Stafford. I mean, Russ is
slowing down. I don't know. He's not slowing down. No, I don't know about that.
Well, you had to wait till you see the other 5 first.
I know what the other 5 are, but I was
There's only 5 left.
I don't know. Jeff, what's your 10 to 6? And then we'll start to get a little bit more into it. What's
10, I had Baker. 9, I have Matt Ryan. Number 8, Lamar Jackson. 7, Prescott, and then 5, Deshaun.
6.
Or 6. Sorry. 6 is right. Did I already say 6?
You said Deshaun.
No, you said 5 Deshaun Watson. I didn't know if you had the number wrong.
I think I have the number wrong.
Okay.
So, I had Baker, Matt Ryan,
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson. So that's 10, 9, 8. 7 was Dak, and 6. Yeah, 6 is Deshaun.
6 is Deshaun. Okay, but nothing crazy about that
I
list.
forgot to put the numbers, so I'm trying to freaking judge it.
No,
I
that's
just put them
fine.
in order.
No worries. No
He's
worries.
eyeballing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So for me, that third tier, 11 to 7. Okay, so it's 5 guys I have in the third tier. It's going to be Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, and Kyler Murray. So it's pretty it falls in line with what you're like. We have, give or take, it's the same guys for the most part that we have towards this list. The only guy I think that we disagree is Wilson. I think Wilson at 6 is a little low. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know, man. Like, was it okay? What was it that made you have him this low? Like, without getting too much into the other, without naming the other QBs yet, like, why isn't he higher?
Ceiling, and so much the situation and just Super Bowl winning potential and gameplay breaking potential. And I mean, Russ at some point is going to slow the fuck down. And the people I have ahead of him, I just feel as if who does what he does, in a sense, have more of explosive potential. I will say this before we even go. Deshaun Watts is not in my top 5. He's not in the top 5 because I can't put somebody in my top 5 that may not fucking play this year. That's why.
So you excluded Deshaun.
He's honorable mention, so he's not.
So if you don't, that makes it worse. If you don't have Watson there, then who's above Wilson? Who have 5 quarterbacks that are above Wilson?
That's hard to figure out.
You will see.
You better have Jalen Hurts in that top 5.
Oh no, Jalen Hurts, he didn't make it in the top 20, so he's like 22, 23.
Okay.
All right. I don't know, man. Wilson's like, he's close to like top tier, man. Like, I don't know if I put him at 6. I don't know.
According to this, he's close to top tier. He's in the 6th position.
Okay. All right. I don't know. All right. So, okay. So
now this is where it starts.
Here it gets meaty.
Here's where we go.
I'm kind of tempted to, because I have in my second tier, I'm kind of tempted to make the discussion more fun. Kind of tempted to rank them. So I might rank them just so we can have a discussion. In reality, let me say this. In reality, all these guys in my second tier are they're all the same. I don't care what order. But for discussion's sake, maybe I'll rank them.
Okay.
Let's answer this because I think most of us, or we should, I hope, but do we all have the same player at 1?
Mahomes.
Pete? You don't have Mahomes at 1?
Yeah, he's at 1.
I swear to God, I was going to smack you.
he's at 1.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so we all have Mahomes at 1. That we can just.
That's a given.
Mahomes. Yeah. All right. So for me, Mahomes is 1. He is my only tier 1 QB. He's in a tier by himself.
Which means he's jinxed for this year. Him and Brady after being freaking announced on the freaking Madden cover.
Through Madden. So he's a tier by himself. Tier 1, Patrick Mahomes. Everyone else is tier 2. Okay. So got that out of the way. So then that means my QBs in tier 2 are QB 2 to QB 6. And you guys have obviously QB 2 to QB 5. So let's go down. I'm going to, Jeff, do your number 5.
Number 5, I have Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen at 5. Okay. Yeah. Pete, who do you have 5?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay. I have. Okay, I'll do my. God damn, I have to. All right.
I love it when you feel the heat.
God, I'm trying to rank this on the fly, like this you did. Like
it's not easy on the fly.
It's not easy on the fly, and I'm not trying to rank them either, but I'm trying to make this discussion juicy. So like, all right. If I'm gonna do a 6, I'm gonna have to say Josh Allen. 'Kay. And then if I'm gonna do a 5, just so I can be on par, you guys. If I'm going to do a 5, I'm going to have to say Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my 4. Now we'll go around. We'll go reverse. My 4 is Tom Brady. Pete, who's your 4?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Okay. Jeff.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson 4. I don't have a problem with that. Pete, you're 3.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I don't have a problem with that either. Jeff.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. And for me, Russell Wilson is at 3.
Okay.
And then 2, we'll go reverse. 2, I have Aaron Rodgers. Jeff.
The GOAT Brady.
Brady at 2. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. Pete.
The greatest quarterback thrower of the football ever, Aaron Rodgers. I was trying to.
So I'm like, you already said Brady, but not say the GOAT again.
That's what I was getting.
There's nothing really that outrageous in our rankings other than that Russell Wilson ranking. You know where I had trouble with? I had trouble with the Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson thing because
Okay.
Deshaun Watson was so damn good. He
Yeah.
was so damn good last year, and I hate I don't want to just not give him the benefit of the doubt because he may not play next year, but I don't know.
Next year. I think the NFL and this whole, from what I've been reading and keeping up with, this is not happening to at least after the season, probably into the off season, because they can't get this civil case off the ground. So it just keeps on getting pushed along, and the NFL is not going to lay the boom until that or any legal action is taken against him either.
I think that if there was any chance that word around the league got that he has the green light to play in 2021, I think that he would be a Philadelphia Eagle. Hands down. Hands down.
You think they would package?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't.
If there was confidence that he was starting in week 1, the NFL came and said there would be no discipline for Deshaun Watson for the 2021 season. I think that's when you would see the trade talk start to heat up because then he becomes a tangible asset that you can use for this season.
For this season. And the thing with the Eagles is, does Deshaun Watson, if they do pull the trigger on him, does he automatically make them a Super Bowl contending team? I don't, as good as Watson is, I still don't feel the Eagles are at that level yet. And I feel, even though if that was the case, I still don't think teams would overpay or over trade for Deshaun Watson, because what would happen after this year, depending what would happen. If the case or stuff gets pushed along the line till next offseason, people are not going to invest on potential just for 1 year because you don't know what the future is going to behold. So I feel we'll hopefully get a better understanding closer to the season or throughout the season or whatever, but we'll see. I just don't think teams are going to line up until they know what exactly is going to happen. But the fact that we're now almost in the beginning of July and still nothing has happened with any of the cases against him, I kind of feel it's somewhat of a good sign. He's probably at least start the season at least for a few games, whatever hell is going to happen.
Right. Now, the only counterpoint to that stance is that's why you say, hey, Houston, I'll give you a 1 and I'll give you a 2. If you can get Watson for a 1 and a 2, that still leaves you with potential 2 1s next year and 1-2 next year, then I'm good. Because I don't think he's going to get – I don't think at any point the discipline is going to be a whole season. We've never seen them do that.
No.
They've never levied a whole season. So if it's 4, 6, 8 games and you can still get him and he's under contract for 2 more years, definitely think it's worth it.
I see your point, but I don't feel no matter what happens with Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, it's not going to happen until at least next offseason because of the uncertainty, what would possibly happen from a playing standpoint, that teams are going to hold that leverage over the Houston Texans' heads. They are not going to get the asking price that we somewhat expect that you should get for a guy like Deshaun Watts. And I kind of feel that's what the Eagles are holding out on. They're waiting to see what they have with Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts does not pan out for them, they could potentially still have 3 first-round picks and still get and still have Deshaun Watts if they trade maybe a middle or like a second or a third round pick for a service, depending on who maybe they're competing against. Because there are teams that need a quarterback, but we're the ones with the arsenal and with the compensation to make it happen. Not all those teams do.
True, valid point.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion on Deshaun Watson's off-field stuff. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. If it's all I will know, all I say is if he's cleared of all these accusations, whatever you want to call it, and the Texans are willing to trade, and the trade package is reasonable, absolutely get it. Absolutely get him. Yeah. Sorry, like I like Hurts, but Deshaun Watson is arguably one of the best QBs in the league, top 5. Yep. I'm in a 5.
And that's without a top 5 wide receiver they decided to trade before the start of the season last year.
And no O-line and no running game.
No O-line.
And no coach. Like, oh, God, he's so good. So that's why, like, maybe I should have him at 4 and Tom Brady at 5. I don't know, whatever. It's like a mix-up. But name one QB on your rankings that you are keeping an eye on, for better or for worse. Or if you think that they could see a meteoric rise, a meteoric fall. You think they could have the biggest season, MVP type season? Any reason you want to throw out there? Who's the one QB on your rankings, excluding Hurts, because we already talked about him, that you have your eye on the most? Pete.
Baker.
Why?
It can go either way. It can go either way. He can improve, and put himself in the top 10, top 5 quote QBs in the league, or he can fall off and then he could find himself in the 20s. He's in a good situation, but his play has always been up and down. I need to see consistency out of Baker this year.
Yeah. Jesse Davis, real quick before you go, Jeff. Jesse Davis says Justin Herbert could be a top 5 QB next year, in my opinion. I could see that. He has talent, man.
He has a talent and the weapons around them.
Yeah, so I wouldn't bet on it, but at least near it. Like he could be in the conversation.
Yep.
To be near that. So I get it. I see that. Jeff, one QB.
As Eagles fans and just looking around our division, and we continue to talk about the one team that continues to somewhat separate themselves or be the leader of the pack, depending on the talent of their quarterback, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. So my eyes are going to be on Dak Prescott. Whether he can be or live up to the potential that he had before the injury, playing on the 1-year deal. So it's going to be a make or break season for Prescott, and it could be change the atmosphere of the Dallas Cowboys organization and the division in general if they decide to move on from Dak Prescott after the season and go in a different direction if they did not get that long-term deal done. So that's sort of my eye on, because he's playing on a contract year, and some players live up to the potential and live up to the pressure of playing on a contract year and play balls out. And there's some guys that crumble under the pressure of that status. So it's going to be interesting to see if him playing on that final year, whether he can live up and play up to the potential that Cowboys fans and Jerry Jones expects him to do. Because if he does, he's going to be in our division for the next 5 to 10 years, however long contract they give him for. If not, we could be seeing a new face of the franchise come 2022.
Okay.
So I want to say Wentz, but I'm going to hold off.
I thought that was the easy answer.
Yeah, too easy.
That's why I stayed away from him.
Bill Middlebrook says Wentz for him. It's too easy, way too easy. So I'm going to digress from that. I'm not going to say that. And Star Key says Trey Lance is no joke, but I think this person has them confused with Mac Jones, because it sounds like they're talking about Mac Jones, a Patriots rookie QB. Say
Right.
no joke, he will take Cam's job, and when that happens, he will be the next Brady Patriot Part 2 saga. Let me get into this before I give my answer, because I want to touch on this too. Cam re-signed with the Patriots, right?
Mhm.
And they drafted Mac Jones. It's been now reported and touched on that Cam last year was behind in terms of learning the offense, and then when he got injured, it put him even further behind, which is why the Patriots kind of fell off. If you remember, before Cam got hurt, they were playing pretty well. He was playing pretty well
Yeah.
with the Patriots. They also had no receivers. I mean, I could argue that their receivers last year were worse than ours. So Cam comes back. Patriots have 2 tight ends that they signed in free agency. They have a deep threat in Nelson Aguilar. They have another. They signed someone else. They signed other wide receivers. So for the most part, they boosted up their receiving core. They have weapons now.
Okay, when you call Nelson Aguilar a deep threat, I mean, like,
Well, he is a deep threat.
yeah, I know,
He
but
drops the ball
yeah,
every once in a while. But he's a deep threat. I mean, that's what he did all year last year for the Raiders. He caught how many deep balls did he catch? He caught so many. He got a lot, and that's what he was doing here in 2017. People forget that, but he drops a lot of balls. It's just who he is. He's gonna drop a lot of balls, but he's also gonna make some big plays. That's Aguilar. So anyway, what is your take on Cam? Do you think that it's one and done for him in New England again for this year? Or do you think he has a chance? Like, because the Mac Jones draft, drafting Mac Jones was really interesting, because I think Cam, and you guys know, Pete knows when Kevin was on the show, we would talk about Cam all the time. I'm no huge fan of Cam Newton. I really am not. But at the same time, I don't deny that he's talented.
yes.
Especially and you have Josh McDaniels, who's a good offensive coordinator. Like, what's your take on Cam? Do you think he has a good chance to have a good year in New England? And do you think he has any shot of being there a couple more years?
I think at some point Mac Jones will be the starter this year.
This year. Okay.
This year. Yeah.
Yeah.
This year. I when you add that much talent, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, forget the other wide receiver that they signed in free agency. But when you make moves like that and you have the running game, the thing with Cam is it's almost like his talent is against the grain. Like he's talented in spite of traditional QB. So you can do so many things with him in his athleticism, and that kind of gets you attracted to him as far as it makes him like a feature set. But in the way Josh McDaniels wants to run his offense, he wants optionality. He doesn't want a 1-track or 2-track type of mentality. And that's what Mac Jones is going to give you. One of the things that he was touted for coming out of Alabama is he makes his reads and progressions faster than most. And that's what you need in the Josh McDaniels offense. So I just think at some point in time, the rubber's going to hit the road to where it's going to be stagnant. And I just think they limit themselves within the New England offense if they keep Cam versus what they have with Mac Jones. I mean, you saw that in the Super Bowl with the Panthers. You know what I mean? You saw it in the Super Bowl with the Panthers. It's like once you took away the first and second thing that they wanted to do well, they couldn't adjust, and he couldn't adjust.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So.
What do you think, Jeff?
Honestly, I don't see Cam panning out, especially after last season. I had hopes for Cam, especially with a coach like Belichick that knows how to get the best out of his players, especially his quarterbacks, and for him to flame out the way he did last year. I kind of feel that Bill was forced to keep Cam this year, not knowing what was going to happen in the draft, or not knowing who you're going to be able to get in free agency or on the trade block. So they still wanted a veteran quarterback to try to help them compete in that division. So I kind of feel that, like, I agree with Pete, sooner rather than later, Cam's going to lose his job. I feel he might start. He's definitely going to start the year as a starter, in my opinion, unless Jones completely blows him out of the water. But I feel Belichick does not want to rush the rookie in there, and definitely Jones is going to be your starter by 2022. And to make a correction on my Dak analysis from Jesse, you are right. Dak did get paid. I'm sorry, with a 1-year-old in this offseason, I'm losing brain cells left and right. But I still stand by looking at Dak. Now that he did get paid, how does he come back, or how does he come from that, and does he live up to that paycheck? So I'm still sticking with Dak.
40 million, man.
Yeah, I thought he got paid, but I didn't have a chance to research or double check before Chuck's threw it to me.
Yeah. The one guy, so you better get back on track before we wrap it up here. The one guy I'm looking at, to me, is Kyler Murray. Okay. I think Kyler Murray has so much potential.
Like boom potential. What about his bust potential for you?
Bust potential. I think the bust potential is tied to his coach. I think that his coach isn't doing him favors. Like I get it, the air raid coming in, but when you don't move your guys on offense, your receivers are staying in one spot. Like that, to me, that's so similar to Chip Kelly and the stubbornness to adjust.
Stuck in their ways.
Stuck in your way. And, I'm not blaming all of it on – what is their coach's name? I keep forgetting.
Cliff Kingsbury.
That's it.
I'm not blaming all of Murray's struggles on Kingsbury because Murray also did struggle with intermediate throws. So he has to work on that. But, man, that's what's going to hold him back to me. But I think Kyler Murray has so much talent. So much talent. I think we talked about Herbert potentially being a top 5 QB by next year. I think Kyler Murray has the talent to be a top 3, top 5 QB in the league. I think he has that. When he was drafted, I thought it would take him a little while to adjust. It didn't. He was pretty pro ready, and that shocked me because I thought his ceiling was really high. So I'm keeping an eye on Kyler Murray. I love his game, and it's not just because he's short. It's because he has the arm talent along with that running ability and escapability, but he doesn't run all the time and get undisciplined. He does things where he runs if that's the play if he has to, or if that's the design of the play, But if he's in trouble, he does what Jalen Hurts needs to learn to do, and he keeps his eyes down front. He always tries to make the pass before running as a last resort. So I love that about Kyler Murray because he's as elusive as anything, and as we've seen, but he wants to be a passer, and I love that about him. So I'm keeping an eye on Kyler Murray coming into his 3rd year. So that's it for QB ranking. That's all I got, unless you guys got something you want to add. But that's all I've got. Let's touch on real quick. We've got 5 minutes-ish to kill. I want to touch on 2 things real quick. I guess you can call this kind of a no huddle, but what do you guys think the chances that we get Jordan Matthews back now that he's converting to tight end?
Is this a freaking new trend that any guy that can't play at their position, they're just gonna transfer and move themselves to try the tight end position because they feel anyone can play the freaking tight end position? Now Jordan Matthews.
It's showing the blurred line of that position now because not only do you have tight ends who are more of just receiving threats and not inline blocking threats.
Right.
But you also have wide receivers who aren't great at separation but can be used as big slot receivers. So when you have those 2 things combining at the same time or happening at the same time, now you've got this trend of that's happening where you've got wide receivers coming in tight end.
Right.
And I don't think it's going away anytime soon because that's the offense now. The offenses are looking for positionless
So are we going to have wide receivers who are slow and can't get separation? They're going to convert the tight ends who can't create separation or can't catch. They're going to convert the tackles. Like, is that what we're going to have? Is this going to be a chain reaction?
And look at, it's not just that too. Look at wide receivers who have yak ability. They're running backs now too. So it's crazy. It's kind of crazy. I just wanted to throw that in there before we wrap up. But like, if you guys, anything else from you guys?
Nah, man. This is everybody in the fam. Stay tuned for Hockey Happy Hour coming up next. You know, shout out to all our sponsors, A2D promos out there. You know, Manscaped, everywhere. Body Check Wellness, we there. You know, so. And if you want to be part of the fam, $9.99, get you in the door.
Yes, guys. Yeah. So, like Pete said, thank you for tuning in. We've got so much going on right now. Like you said, the A2D #1 fan membership. Look into it. $9.99 gets you so much more. We also got this month's promo with Manscaped. I know Father's Day is coming up this weekend, but it's still not too late. If you want to get a good Father's Day gift, go to Manscaped, use the promo code A2D, you get 20% off. Thank you to our sponsors, Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com, and the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Call them at 856-651-8117. Body Check Wellness. Use A2D for 20% off. We've got Hockey Happy Hour coming at you right on top of us, so don't go anywhere. We've got so many other shows throughout the week as well. I'm not going to name them all because there's so many good ones, so definitely keep yourself tuning in every single day. We will be back next week again, and got my favorite position. We got running back rankings, baby. I might go do top 30. Who knows?
Might as well. Jeff set the standard. He ranked all starting quarterbacks.
He did. Just when I Crow used to get on me for doing like top 10, top 15, top 20. Man, Jeff did the whole thing. So I may have to up it up and take it up a notch too. I might have to go top 30 running backs in the league. We'll see. But definitely, guys, come back next week. It's going to be a fun show. Yet again, we're going to talk running backs. And you know I've got a lot to say. I've got a lot to discuss when it comes to that position. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. For Pete and Jeff, I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure again talking to you guys this week. Glad that you're okay, Pete. Jeff,
thank you, sir.
Coming on again. Good to see you again. But guys, make sure you catch us all over social media. If you missed the show, we're on Apple Podcasts. Download and leave a comment and a rating. That helps a lot. For myself again, for Jeff, for Pete, for Chrome, who's not here, for everyone else at A2D, thank you for tuning in, fam. We love you. Stay safe, and we will see you next week.